Hey everybody, welcome back to the Club Junkie Podcast. Hope you're having a great Thursday afternoon or whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, it's another Thursday. It is the beginning of October, so the 2nd already, which is wild to think about. Yeah, just like where did the summer go? And the sad thing is I have played so little golf in the state of Michigan lately. I've played a decent amount because I've been traveling, so I haven't been playing a ton. So, yeah, a lot going on here, but I got a fun show. It's one that I did last year. I think a lot of people liked it. We're going to do it again this year. But before we get into that, I just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist and the new T-Series irons. Are your irons helping you, or are they holding you back? Eliminating gaps in iron performance is a key to shooting lower scores. And the new Titleist T-Series irons are designed to help all golfers hit it higher, farther, and closer. Whether you prefer tour precision, maximum speed and forgiveness, or something in between, T-Series provides irons suited for every level of golfer, all with that signature Titleist quality and feel. They're everything you love about Titleist irons, with the added performance and new seamless design that's absolutely stunning across all models, including a clean, modern look for the new T250. To find the T-Series irons that fit your game or build your perfect blended set, visit Titleist.com to reserve a T-Series fitting near you. So, yeah, Titleist. I was actually out at Titleist last week, actually. This is the first, I'm home this week, and then I'm, going to be gone again. But I was actually at Titleist out in Manchester Lane, out there in New Bedford, Massachusetts, checking out there. We had actually some forum members go out there, check out the ball plant, a bunch of ball stuff, do ball fitting, all that. It was pretty fun. It was a good time. Everybody out there had a great time getting to check it out. Manchester Lane's amazing. I'm 0 for 2 there in terms of weather. I went there last year right when Manchester Lane opened after it's been redone, and it poured. Rained outside, never hit a ball. And then I go there this last week, and it poured rain for 3 straight days. So I'm 0 for 2. I've been to Manchester Lane twice. I've never hit a ball off grass. I've never putted on the 100-foot perfectly level or 100-yard perfectly level putting green. I've never hit a ball on grass at Manchester Lane. I've been there twice. So a little bit of a bummer. I better get to hit some balls. Next time I go, I don't even care if it's pouring rain. I'm going to go hit a ball off grass just to say that I've done it. So that was a whole lot of fun. But did that. I've got some stuff coming up again. And then we're going to get into the gauntlet of 2026 travel, which is I'm super excited for. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. I'm pretty excited. I think there's some cool stuff. I've been I've been fortunate to see little hints and peeks behind the curtain and things like that so far. So I think 2026 for us us Club Junkies is going to be a good one, and I think we're going to have a whole lot of fun hitting some new stuff. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, so today I'm going to jump into. I know I did this last year. I did it way later. I went back to look to see when I did this, and I did it way later in the year last year, but it was a whole lot of fun, and I think it's a great one because I think it's one that I think a lot of you guys and me, we kind of don't think of these things necessarily because we explore so much equipment, I believe. We're looking to try everything and read up on everything and all that, and, all this gear kind of floods us all the time. But I think there's a lot of stuff out there that is super underrated, and it doesn't get talked about a lot, and a lot of people don't, look at it that much because it isn't one of the big brands out there or whatnot. So we're going to do this year's show. This is my 2020. And since things are kind of winding down, we're going to start seeing some 2026 product, I believe, in the next few months. We'll probably start seeing leaks on tour and things like that. I figured, why not do this? So we're going to do my 2025 most underrated clubs. So again, did this in 2024. I'll try to put a link to it if you're watching this on YouTube in there on that one, because I thought that was a great show. Had some cool stuff, and yeah, we're gonna do it again for 2025 because I think there are some really good products that even I don't talk about enough. And I think if you're somebody who's out there kind of looking for something new, you've kind of tried maybe some of the regular stuff you see at the shop every day and all that. What's some good stuff out there that you could try that isn't necessarily something you maybe hit back in the spring when you were testing stuff out? And again, nowadays, man, every company makes such good products that there's nothing bad out there. Let's put it that way. There's stuff that'll work for your swing and won't work for your swing, and that's great. And I love that about it. I'll go hit something and I'll kind of know hey, this is probably not for me, but I'm going to hit it anyway because I want to see how it performs. And I think there's a lot of people out there like that, that you kind of know what's going to work, what isn't, and then you kind of get that tunnel vision of you kind of roll down there and just look at the stuff that is going to work for you. So yeah, I put together a list. I kind of put, I did everything, and then I kind of did a little backup on, or kind of like I want to call it a runner-up type section for each one, because I don't think I did that last year. I think last year I just did it, and that was it. This one, I've done a runner-up for all but like 2 categories, really. So just because they were kind of hard, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to go there. So we're just going to leave it as these ones. But or one. I think I've got one on there. So I think I will put one in there on the, what do you call it, for the runner-up on there. But anyway, so I'm typing in this right now, so I have my notes. I have notes back here. I'm a prepared podcaster, which is usually never the case, I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, so we're going to do most underrated. So these are my most underrated clubs of 2025. I think the stuff that, for the most part, it may not have come out in 25, but it was in the lineup, part of the 25 lineup. It was in there, ready to go. Maybe it's the second year of whatever it was, or it came out a little bit late, a little bit earlier. Maybe it was part of 24 launch, but it actually ran through 25. But all stuff that was available in 2025 from all these brands. So we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna start with driver. We'll start at the top end of the bag, and I think this one had a few different places it could go. I'll give you my top 2, I think kind of nail it, but I think there's a couple out there. I think some of the big OEMs had drivers in their line, like the actual heads and stuff that were super underrated. Like the one that jumps into my mind, like from a big OEM, like TaylorMade's QI35 Max. I felt like that driver was just not talked about. Nobody did. You never saw it. Nothing. I thought that was a much improved driver from QI10 Max. So stuff like that, I did put into consideration. That almost made it here into this one, because I think that is a brutally ignored driver, especially if you're looking for something 10K. I think it's lower spin, it's lower launch. You don't have to like loft down anymore, anything like that. But I think the one that just nobody's talking about, that they should be or should be trying, and not enough people are, especially for the high speed player, which, if you're out there and you're a high speed, kind of high spin player, I think this driver is same thing, kind of criminally overlooked. I think it's really, really good, and kind of excited to see where this brand goes with like the next line, whenever that is. But it is the Wilson Dynapower LS. So this is the low spin one, the LS. 2 movable weights, like most, one in the back, one in the front. You can kind of flop them around. But really deep face on it, so it's kind of vertically got a good sweet spot from north to south, and it's a really kind of compact easy, shape to it, really rounded, really classic in terms of the shape. Now you do have like the carbon crown, a little bit of red on it, all that, but overall I think this driver is really good. I think Wilson, to be honest, I think did kind of a poor job talking about the Packer 360 face on here, but I think it's super fast. The one thing I remember, we did we did a trip with some Golf Direct members down to Cabot Citrus Farms, and they got fit for drivers, and a couple of guys got fit into LS. And I remember one of the guys, he was playing a Ping, I think a G430. He got fit into the LS, super high speed guy, kind of like high 70s into the 180s ball speed, and he was playing it. And as he's playing like around a Cabot with a driver that he's never played before, he literally got fit into the day before. They built it overnight, and he went and played it. He was like really impressed with his heel. Like for him, he was like, I miss on the heel. That's my spot. And he's like, sometimes I noticed like, my G430 would spin a little bit. I would lose a little speed, whatever. He's like, that was the shot that I always, kind of feared out there. That was the one that kind of affected me the most. And he was just like, and I remember, and I've read stuff recently more in the Golf Direct forums from the same guy. He was like, that shot is definitely much improved with this driver. Just had another friend who I was in kind of a group text with, and he said, I just hit the Wilson Dynapower. I think he hit the carbon and the LS, and he was like, I'm really impressed with what they're doing. And he's a guy who hits a lot of equipment. So this thing here, I think it's super fast. It's sneaky low spin, and it's low spin without having to shove the weight forward and get rid of some of that forgiveness. I think it does it on its own. But then you can also, shove that weight forward and really take some spin off. But it's got a flat launch, a flat apex, a lot of speed to it. And I think that better player is looking to have some control out of some of those shots and control that spin. This thing is really, really good. But it holds up with the big boys. I think that, the ball speed, all that, really, really good. And I think Wilson did a great job in terms of the shape. It's very classic. When you look down on it, it's not going to have some weird, funky shape to it. You're going to look down, it's going to look good. The knock to it is that Wilson, people just don't know Wilson's kind of back yet. and I think they're going to know more. I think the group over there that's kind of in place, doing a lot of their engineering and marketing and all that stuff, is really passionate about bringing this brand back and super excited about where they're going. And I have not seen what is coming next from them. But I know they were raving about it when I saw them down at Cabot, and they were just like, just wait, just wait. And the funny thing is, before that, I saw those guys in 24, and they were like, just wait. 25 is going to be so good, and they were dead right. The Dynapower LS. Now, for me, the LS, I hit it. I thought it was really great. I kind of played a little bit more of the Carbon throughout the year. The Carbon's kind of the kind of do it all. It's very forgiving, but it's still got some spin control. And then they have a max driver as well. But the LS, Carbon base plate, Carbon on the crown. It's just overall like full of tech. The same kind of technology stories and all that you hear from all the big boys, this guy's got in it. And then, of course, adjustable hosel as well, so you can kind of fine-tune everything. But a great driver that I think just doesn't get enough love because, people are still thinking the Wilson name is still that kind of price point, big box sets, all that. They know they make still, the good blades and the CBs, and those are out there. But nobody really looked at the woods as much here, and these things really, really performed really well. And also, like I said, the Fairway woods, spectacular also. So I've got a 7 wood I played a good amount of. But the Dynapower LS from Wilson, I think if you're a high-speed player who, is looking for that spin control, you've kind of tried a few things, you're not necessarily in love, I think this thing is worth a try. I think, maybe, hey, it doesn't knock out whatever you got in the bag. Maybe you've got really nice setup. I think this thing here, very neutral, is a great thing to try that could really shock you, could kind of impress you with what it will do out there. But Wilson's doing some good things. I'm super excited to see whatever comes next from them. And I think they just need to do a little better story, telling kind of the tech story on this one, because I think there was a lot of tech in it and a lot of stuff there. And people just didn't understand it or didn't get that story, didn't see it. So, the Wilson Dynapower LS is my most underrated driver of 2025 because I think it is just a really, really good option there. And then for runner-up, I'm going to go the Srixon ZXi Max. I think that's another driver that does everything really well. I think every year or every generation, Srixon's getting better and better. And I think that Max, if you're looking for something forgiving, easy to launch, and just goes high and straight, that driver is really, really good. If they can get the sound figured out on that thing, they're going to sell a heck of a lot of drivers. So Wilson Dynapower LS is my most underrated, and runner-up would be the Srixon ZXi Max. So that's driver. And then for Fairway, again, I kind of had a couple different options here in terms of where I was going to go. And I think this one I don't think is going to surprise a ton in terms of this. I think the runner-up will. But this one isn't, and I think the most underrated. I think most underrated Fairway this year, and I just mentioned the driver, Srixon ZXi. The Srixon ZXi fairways. I've got a 5 wood here. I think it's extremely versatile. They make they make a few different models from 5 down to I believe 7, but the shaping has gotten way, way better. I like the fact they went to kind of this clean matte crown on it. The face height I think is great. It can still hit off the deck. Hit it off the tee. It does everything really well. In terms of look, it's smooth, it's simple, it's classic. There's nothing crazy going on. And of course, adjustable hosel on at least the 3 and 5. I don't know if any of the other higher lofted ones do. But yeah, everything you pretty much want in this here. Sound is definitely better than driver. It's kind of that classic stainless steel ting. But these things here, they launch high, they go far, and they're pretty darn straight. I think they're a good blend of they kind of do it all. I love the fact they've got the adjustable hosel on there. I'm always a big fan of adjustable hosels on fairways. Like this one here is a 5 wood. I actually kind of set it up 1.5 degrees, so it played kind of like 17, or I'm sorry, it played like 19.5 degrees, almost 20. So it was kind of like a weak 5 wood, almost a 7 wood. And then I also messed with it, turned all the way down 1.5, so I could play it almost as a 4 wood. So just really versatile there. I think the size is good. This 5 wood isn't super tiny. It's not crazy compact, but the shape is still classic enough. But I think it's got great ball speed. It's easy to hit. I think it's kind of like a mid-high launch, easy to get in the air, not crazy spinny, and it's pretty darn forgiving. You can kind of hit it out all over the face. It's going to go relatively straight. But overall, it's just one of those fairways that out there that just does everything right. And with Srixon, they didn't need to go to have a tour, an LS model. It was pretty much, we've got, this one here, it does it all. And it does it really well. And again, I love the fact they got away from that kind of step crown they had in the previous ZX Mark II. This one here definitely looks just a little bit cleaner from address. So, just a really good one. The iFlex face, that they have on there. Like I said, kind of produces good ball speed across the whole face. Even when you hit it low, it still gets the ball up in the air. But really solid. I think they did a really nice job. I think these are some that, again, you've been kind of on that hunt because let's be honest, 3 woods, 5 woods, whatever, sometimes they're just hard to find. They're hard to find that one that get in your bag and it's just not going to leave and you just love it. This one here, I think, has that chance to be something that's really good and maybe one of those things that stays in your bag for a while. So the ZXI from Strixon, really like what they did this year with it. It'll be in the line again through 26. We'll probably see a new one in 27, and if their timing kind of stays like it usually has. But yeah, they did a really nice job with this. I think it's really good. I have this 5 wood that I've been messing with. I kind of want to hit the 3 wood and just to see kind of where it goes and what it does. But this one here has been really, really solid, and I've really liked it. So played it a few different ways. It's performed really well every single way, and it's performed just a little bit different in those different setups. So a really, really good fairway there if you're looking to try something new, something different, and you've tried a bunch of other stuff and it just hasn't worked out. So Strixon ZXI will be my most underrated fairway at 25. And now this one is going to be the weird one, the runner-up. I think the runner-up, honestly, TaylorMade QI35 Tour. And I know everybody's saying, it's TaylorMade, of course, the QI35, that's not underrated. The Tour one, no one talks about. I don't see anybody using it. People are starting to talk about the QI35, the core model, the standard one, and the fairways, because it's again, really versatile, all that. I think the QI35 Tour is, I'm kind of amazed not as many people play it. And I know it's expensive. It's got the titanium face, but I think that sliding weight on the bottom, I played in the 7 wood, I've got it in a 3 wood. That sliding weight, I think, is definitely more noticeable in terms of the effect on flight than I noticed in QI10, and even in a little bit of stealth too. I think it kind of has a little bit more of an impact. I think the face is hot. I don't think it's as crazy low spin as some of those titanium models that have been before. I know the original Sim titanium, people are still crazy high on, but that thing was too low spin for me. This thing here is lower spin, but it's still more playable. It's not as crazy low spin. I think it's very forgiving, and it's got a smaller, compact look. So I think the QI35 Tour is super overlooked. Everybody goes the other way with that thing, but it's a great one that if you're like somebody who likes to tinker, likes to adjust, all that. The 7 wood has been my gamer pretty much all year. Love the fact that it's got that deeper face, hit it off the tee, hit it off the deck, just does it all. And honestly, it went so high. With the weight all the way back, I ended up pushing that weight a little bit forward just to bring that flight down a little bit and get a little more distance out of it for the gapping of my 7 wood. So big fan of that thing, but I think the QI35 Tour is the runner-up for a kind of underrated fairway. So I might catch a little flack for that one, and I'm okay with it because I think I'm right. So all good there. And honestly, there's no wrong answer. Let's be honest there. So so that is the most underrated fairways of the year, in my opinion. And then we move on to hybrids. So hybrids, this one, again, I feel like could have went a bunch of different ways. This one is, again, I think going to be a little interesting. I don't think people are going to see this one coming. I think it's a little controversial, but it's something that I've been kind of diving into more. And I'm probably going to dive into it more even so. But this one, again, I think could have went a few different ways. I think there's a lot of hybrids out there that are really good. And let's be honest, hybrids are kind of been shoved in the back burner a little bit because of all the high lofted fairways. And the utility irons, like those things are just getting so good on both ends, and hybrids are kind of taking a little bit of a hit for that. But the one I'm going to go with is the Cobra King Tech, or the Cobra King Tech X 1 length. Yes, the 1 length one. So this is something I had the sample in from Cobra when they sent in all the media sample stuff at the beginning of the year, and it got sent in. It's a 4-iron. It's 21 degrees. Or a 4-iron replacement. It's a 21 degrees, and it just had kind of like a regular shaft, like flex shaft in it, just a regular flex KBS shaft. But this here is 7-iron length, which is pretty wild. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it out. So I did one of my what's in the bags from one of my league nights. I put this in the bag in the 4-iron spot, and I'll tell you what, it is kind of stupid easy to hit. It's stupid easy to hit. It's weird when you stand over it and you're standing over like a 200-yard shot and you pull this thing out and you stand over you have the posture of a 7-iron. It's so weird, but it works. And I'm going to mess with this thing more because I kind of want to see where it goes. But off the tee, hit it high. It went pretty darn straight. Off the deck, same thing. You can hit it high. It's just like swinging a 7-iron. Now for me, I had to watch. I did get a little bit steep with it, just because, it's such a weird thing to kind of swing it, but it worked really well. And even with the regular shaft, which is a little bit soft, it didn't matter. I mean, you had a kind of tight little draw to it. But I love the fact this thing, it still's got the Future Fit 33 hosel on there. So you have a ton of adjustments. You can take this thing and make it more flat, make it more upright, make it match your irons, whatever you want to do, adjust the loft. All those things come into play. And I think this thing can fit in a lot of bags. And if you're somebody who at the top end of the bag, you're just struggling, you can't find that right spot of what's working, you're not finding any consistency, whatever, this could be something interesting in the bag. Like it's short, it's easy to swing. And I feel like this even too, like for some players around the green, being able to chip and pitch with it, or, hit little chip shots just off the green and things like that with it, the shorter shaft's going to make it super easy to kind of hit those little shots. But I didn't believe it was going to go as far as it should. I was sitting there going, it's a 4 or whatever. It's not going to go, the distance, the shaft's too short, whatever. But the head weight's built around it. It's a little bit bigger head than the standard King Tech. So it's a little bit bigger there. But overall, this thing is kind of really good. And I think that, if you struggle in like that, 4-iron, maybe even 5-iron spot, whatever it is, at that top end of the bag before you get maybe into, fairway woods or whatever, I'm just saying, this is going to get messed with a little more. I'm going to yank the shaft out of this. I'm going to put an iron shaft in here, something that's maybe a little bit more stiff, maybe take a little bit of the left out of it. But it's so good. And right now I just got to set an A1. I didn't even change it up and make it flat or anything like that yet. But I think this could be a really interesting spot at that 4-iron position, where if you need something just to hit a fairway, you got to hit a fairway on a short par 4 that's super tight, or you got that long par 3 that, man, it's like getting it there is tough, or it's got a kind of a narrow landing spot, whatever. I think confidence-wise, this thing is really, really hard to beat. But again, same thing. Love the shape. Classic black crown, just all matte. You see a little bit of the carbon through it. Love the Future Fit 33. It's got one weight in the bottom for swing weight purposes. It doesn't have the movables like the standard one. But the lie angle and everything, it looks super upright when you look at it, because it's built on a 7-iron, so it just looks crazy upright. But it works. It does really work. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to keep messing with this thing. I don't know if they will have a new version of this for next year. I have no idea what's going to go on with that. But if they do, I may try to get another one, or I'm just keep rocking this one and get the experiment going. But I've been a big fan of this thing, and I think it works really well. So again, if you're really struggling in that spot, that 4, and you found nothing that works, hey, little 7. I mean, it's pretty funny when you can get almost the whole hybrid in this shot on YouTube, and I'm standing 2.5 feet from the camera. You can almost get the whole club in there because it's that short, which is pretty funny. But it's funny at first, but it's not funny when it works. So I'm going to go with that as my most underrated hybrid there. And then for runner-up, I'm going to go Mizuno JPX 925 Fly High. I think that thing, insanely good value. It's not outrageously expensive. It doesn't have all the tech that some of the the ST stuff does or any of that, but I think it's a great one there. You can even get it with steel shaft. It's got some custom options, and for the value play, it's got great shape to it. Looks really, really good. It's a good solid hybrid for a good price, and everybody gets amazed by the ST stuff and all that. But I think that JPX 925 Fly High is a really, really good hybrid. It launches high, goes high. It's pretty darn forgiving, and it's got some good ball speed. I think it's easy to gap in the bag. They make a pretty decent amount of them. They make from 19 down to 28? So 19 degrees down to 28. So I mean, they're basically making 4 different irons out of it. So just an overall really solid option for a little lower price, but you're not going to have to worry about your cutting out the performance side of it. It's still really, really good. So Mizuno JPX 925 Fly High will be the runner-up in the hybrid area. So that is that. And then, when we move into utilities, it's pretty funny that these are kind of working out this way, but just talking about Mizuno, and now we're getting to the utility iron. And I know you guys hear me talk about this utility all the time, but I feel like I'm the only one talking about it. And I think the most underrated utility iron this year for 2025, the Mizuno Pro Fly High. So this is the brand new one. I liked the previous version, but I only liked it off the tee. I thought it was hard to hit off the deck. It wasn't super high. It kind of came out flat. Now, if you're a super high ball hitter and, need to control that and all that, last year's is probably pretty good. It's a little bigger looking club head. I think they slimmed this one down They made it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit blended a little bit better with the iron sets. But I think the Mizuno Pro Fly High is phenomenal. You can hit it off the deck. It goes high. It's easier to throw it into a par 5 or, a green on like say a par 5 or, long par 4, long par 3 and throw it into the green and have a chance of stopping it because it goes high in the air. It feels and sounds way better. It's super soft. It's got a much more muted kind of like, crack to it as it leaves the face. It's not super clicky. There's nothing to it that I think is really, that plays badly. I think the sole on it, I don't know that it's necessarily narrower than the old one, but it definitely does have kind of like a pre-worn leading edge on it. Got a little bit of trailing edge relief, plays a little bit like a little bit more like an iron. But I was a ping eye crossover guy for a long time, and then this came out, and I started hitting it, and I think this thing is really, really good. Doesn't have a ton of offset to it, at least in the 4. When you set it down, it looks really good. And man, if you were to bend this thing just a little bit weak, I think it would just look awesome. With the black finish, when you're on the grass, you don't see a ton of this kind of like muscle that's back there. You'll see a little bit of it, but not too much. But overall, I think this thing here is just really good on the utility spot. And I love where utility irons are going. I think the utility iron area market, that thing has just gotten so much better. The technology we're seeing and all that, and the options, if ones will fly high and low or whatever, they're really, really good out there now. And this is, I think, one of the best ones if you're looking for something that's a little bit easier to hit and throws it up higher, just to kind of add a little height to the top end of the bag, add a little speed in order to hold greens a little bit better. Now, if you're looking for something lower, more of a driving ironish, there's options for that out there as well. But this one here has been just a really solid option. I love all the improvements over last year's. I think they really made some changes that I think helped improve this thing a whole lot. So been a big fan of the Mizuno Pro Fly High. This is the one that I didn't really have a backup for it. I feel like a lot of the other utilities have kind of been, they're kind of on the same level in terms of being talked about. Of course, like Strixon's like, kind of the number one in terms of what everybody tries and wants to try. But last year, I think I did the Cobra King Tech. It's still technically in the line, but I didn't need to put that on there again. So no secondary runner-up on that one, but I'm loving the Mizuno Pro Fly High as my most underrated utility this year. So irons, I feel like this could go a bunch of different ways. And I will say, like, with irons, or any of these clubs, there's always direct consumer stuff. I just didn't go that route. There's a lot of great direct consumer products out there, whether it's throughout the whole bag. So you could always look at that stuff. I just don't get my hands on enough of it to really say I've hit a ton to say like, yeah, this stuff is really great or not or whatever. So that's why I kind of left it out. And now for irons, this is an iron set that I think is truly, truly underrated. And I think every year there's something that goes on the list that I'm just like flat out shocked about. I'm not shocked, but like this is the one thing, almost like the club that like causes me to do this list. And this isn't necessarily there, but I think it's that good. I think it's a really, really good iron. They're probably not in many people's bags, and I think they should be, because I think it fits a pretty wide range of golfer. But this is going to be the Tour Edge, and I think last year, like the Tour Edge 3 wood was kind of the one that did for me. But the Tour Edge Exotics C725 irons. So these are the C725s. They are a multi-piece hollow body player's distance iron. I'm going to say they're going to play in the realm of I'm going to call it a T250 P790 type size. I think they're a hair slimmer than the P790, but it's got a tall face to it when you look at it. I mean, I will say that when you look at it, it's got a tall face. This is just a 7 iron if you're watching this on YouTube again. But again, much like these other things, multi-piece, got a really fast face. They use their 3D diamond face technology on the iron as well. So on the underside, they mill a diamond pattern that helps increase ball speed, make the sweet spot bigger, all that stuff. They use their VibraCore technology inside to kind of fill it to make it sound and feel better. And it's just overall a really, really good iron. And honestly, nobody hits it, nobody plays it. It doesn't have a ton of offset. The top line is not crazy thick. I'd call it a medium. Like I said, I think it looks just a hair slimmer than a P790. I think it actually, blade length-wise and size, maybe just a hair bigger than the new T250. But it's right in that realm. And I think it's extremely forgiving. It's got phenomenal ball speed. it might be a hair low spin for what it is, but if you're playing, somebody plays either a spinning your ball or you've got really a steep angle of attack, something like that, they're great. And the other thing too, they sound and feel really good. When you hit them, very bit little click, very soft, kind of has that like thud when the ball leaves the face. And again, when you see the speed on there, it is really, really good. So the faces are hot. They come out, they're very straight. I think the sole design, it's got some decent camber to it, so the turf interaction's good. But they sound and feel good. They look good from address. And I think overall, they just perform really well. And if you're in that player's distance category, there are a ton of options. And I think this is one that, again, slightly lower price point, but an iron that nobody kind of thinks about. And again, if you're somebody who, you've kind of been looking and things just haven't been your jam, I think this is a great iron. Stock with just a dynamic gold, like mid 115 is what I think they sent me on this thing, and it's just overall really good. But I think they did a nice job. I think the badging on it's a little bit busy. I get that. They kind of went with this like faux carbon fiber kind of back on there. But it looks fine. And from address is what it really matters to me. Fairly boxy toe. So if you like that look, it's there. I'll say my one knock to it, the leading edge is a little bit rounded. It's a little bit soft. I wish it was a touch straighter. But, again, you're nitpicking at that point because the performance is just there. They launch high, they go hard, they go far, and they look good, they sound good, they feel good. They kind of do it all really well. And I think Tour Edge I don't think gets a lot of credit for anything outside fairways and hybrids. And I think the drivers have gotten better over the years, and I also think that the irons have definitely improved as well. So something that's a little bit more traditional, not as wild as like the Bernard Langer blade. Definitely more playable, definitely more forgiving, but these are the exotic C725s, and I think it's a great player's distance iron for players out there who are looking for something that's kind of that mid-size, not crazy big, but they don't want to go blade, but they want some speed, and again, they don't want to sacrifice sound and feel. I think these things are really, really solid. They did a really nice job with them, and again, nobody's really talking about them, out there. And I think more people should. I think more people should try them because they're a really solid iron out there. So I'm going to go with that. And then for the backup, or I guess the runner-up, Cobra King Tech. I think the new Cobra King Tech, I love them. I think what they did compared to the previous version, so the 2024 or 3, whenever it came out, I love the update. I felt like the previous version had way too much offset. Leading edge was way too rounded, all that. They were small, they were compact, they performed awesome, they sounded, felt great, but they didn't look right from address, especially when you got into, I believe, like the long irons. They just really looked kind of pressed back. The new ones, I think they kind of did a heck of a job with improving the looks. The blade size is a little bit bigger, but same thing, they got good speed, good sound and feel to them, and cosmetically they look 1,000 times better to my eye. So Cobra King Tech will be my runner-up in the most underrated iron category. Now, wedges, we're going to jump into wedges. And wedges, again, I think this one could have went a few different ways. I think, pretty much if you're in the line for wedges, you are pretty much talking about Vokey, Cleveland, and TaylorMade. I think Callaway will have a better run this year. I think Opus SP is definitely a step up. But I think there's a handful of wedges out there that really could have gone in this spot. And honestly, I think mine is going to be the PXG Sugar Daddy 3. I know they came out last year, but these things here, and really, the reason they're underrated is because, one, you can only find them at a PXG store, and two, they're kind of dumb. They're kind of expensive. They're kind of dumb expensive. They're like $300 a head. The black ones are $350, and then that's before you do anything custom, if you put any wild shafts, anything like that in there. But honestly, these things, for me, they spin better than anything else out of the rough. So I game the 50 and 56 because, out of the rough here in Michigan, we have kind of deep, lush rough. And the shots out of there from basically 110 and in, or 110 to like 85, these things check up faster than other wedges for me. So I play those too. Now this is the 60 here. The 60 and I think that's just soul-wise, we haven't quite gotten along as well as one of my Vokeys, but they feel amazing. They're 3 times forged, fully milled. They mill the whole head out of a block of carbon steel, fully forged, and they are extremely soft. They feel good. The look is great. I love the fact that the Sugar Daddy 2s had all full-face grooves, whether you're 50, 56, 60, whatever. Throughout the whole set, they had full-face grooves. They went away from that, went to more traditional grooves. You can still get the full face grooves on like the lob wedges if you go to the BP grind. So it's still there if you want it. But overall, they look really traditional. They're super soft. I love the fact that, they have their little weight system. So if you reshaft them, you can put a different weight in there, get the swing weight right. But just overall, they're really playable. Look good from address. They're a little bit more compact. And yeah, they just feel great, and they spin awesome. They've got like this groove that's kind of like tilted with the loft, I believe. Some technology in there where they do that. And I don't know if that's the thing that makes it do it or what. But they spin really, really well. And then off the fairway, of course, they check up hard. So a little bit better distance control for me. Great sound and feel. And the S grind that I play in the 50 and 56. So they've now got 3 grinds, the S, the C, and the BP. The C is kind of the low bounce ground, but the S is 10 degrees of bounce, got like a good amount of camber on it. A little bit trailing edge relief, rounded on the front. They don't dig. They perform really well. And yes, I know they're expensive, and that's why nobody, really, not as many people play them. But once you hit them and experience them, I think they're really, really, really good. So PSG Sugar 83s are just a great underrated wedge. Now, for the runner-up, this one, I could have went, I was looking at the Cobra and whatever, but I'm going to go Mizuno Pro T1. And I feel like this one's a little bit on that border of underrated or not, because I think anybody who's hit them knows how good they are. It's just the fact that there are people out there who haven't hit them. Feel on them is spectacular, as you'd expect. Mizuno Pro, forged, super soft, very responsive, great. But I think they don't get as much love. For one, they've added some sole grind options, so they've got more options there. And 2, I think they spin really well. I think they've got good control out of the rough, out of the fairway lies, the tight lies. They just perform really well. So Mizuno Pro T1s, I think, are great. They just came out with like some new finish as well in those. I think it was like kind of a copper color. So a lot of cool things going on with those. And I think they're another kind of underrated wedge that's definitely worth trying if you're looking for some new wedges out there. Now, we move to putter. And yeah, this one is one of those ones where I think there's so many little boutique putter makers and things like that it's hard to say like what's underrated, because a lot of it could just be like you just don't know about it. But this one here, this is a putter that it came out I think last year, and middle to end of last year. Still in the line now, still get it. But I think it's again super underrated. It is going to be, and it's not zero torque. It is going to be the Seymour Mini Giant HTX. So it's a big head. It's the Mini Giant, so it's a larger head. This one here, the HTX, kind of has that like number 7-ish, fang-ish type look on it. Copper weights on the sole, out in the toe, and in the heel. And of course, they use their patented RST alignment, which, if you're using, the putter, you want to hide the red dot. It's lined up square, and then you just, have a stroke. But I'll just say Seymour, the milling they do on their putter is absolutely phenomenal. Really amazing craftsmanship. I believe these are all milled down in Tennessee. Franklin, Tennessee, right there on the end of it there. But all milled, really great putters. This is the first one. So I've got an HTX and an MTX. The MTX is more of like a rounded mallet. But these are the first ones that, for my eye, most of the times, like I loved what Seymour did. I love like the idea of like, oh, hide that little red dot. There's 2 white lines. You're lined up. You're good to go. Every time I would do that, like the putter just like would always look shut to me. Like they just look a couple degrees closed. It was always that way with every Seymour I've ever putted with. And these are the first ones that I don't have that. They look square. They look like I'm pointed at the target correctly. But they're big and they're super stable. They're very forgiving. You hit them off the toe and heel. They tend to stay square. They don't want to flop open or closed. They're face balanced. When you put them down, they maybe got like a couple degrees of toe hang, but very little. It's basically face balance. The shaft on there, they kind of do this black finish on the tip to kind of help go with the head and kind of hide that red dot. And it's a really big OD. Like the diameter on this thing is pretty massive. I haven't like used calipers to measure it, but it's definitely large. Great feel out of it. This thing here is it's got a nice soft feel. It's got these kind of like horizontal lines milled into it in the center. Feel is really good off the face. It's soft. No tinging or weird clicking, anything like that. Really soft there, good roll on the ball, extremely consistent. And then it's got like, kind of this Garson Quad Tour that comes on it. They offer a bunch of other putters or a bunch of other grips options, but super simple in terms of alignment, just a little line and then their RST alignment thing. But this thing is it's just a solid putter. Now, not everybody's a center shaft guy. I totally get it. That's not for everybody, but I think the overall shape is really good. And I think if you can get into using that RST system, you definitely can be more consistent on hitting the line you want to hit, getting that ball rolling on the line. And this thing here does it really well. And I think I did a 3-swing challenge on this thing. I really liked it. I thought it was really solid. I used this one and the MTX quite a bit, for a while. And this thing is just one of those ones kind of in my rotation. I love the black finish on it. No glare or anything like that. And again, like all the milling lines, all that stuff that you can see on this thing is just kind of crazy. They do a pretty sweet job on these things. And they're good people, man. I've been able to talk to those guys down there. Really awesome company. If you have questions, whatever, they're really, really good. So a cool putter, something a little bit different, but something also that has some really built-in tech that can help you make more putts and be a little bit more consistent. So if you're looking for quality and stuff, these guys definitely nail it, and milled in the USA, so pretty darn cool. So the Seymour HTX is my most underrated putter, and I think my runner-up is going to be the Breakthrough Golf Technology Paradox Mallet. That one there, it's zero torque, as they say. It just looks so funky. Every photo you see of it, people are just like, they probably write it off immediately when they see a photo. When you look down at a dress, it just kind of looks like that putter a little bit. It's got the Fang style, that number 7 style, and it's got good stability. The face stays, pointing towards the target. It's just a really hot, like well-built, really nice zero torque mallet, and it doesn't get a lot of love because, one, again, I don't think they're in shops. They're hard to find to try one. And two, there's no way to photograph it without it just looking really funky. So that one there is really tough. Now for ball, we're gonna go ball, and I think this one here for me was a little bit harder. I think this one was tough, but the pick wasn't bad. It was just like what's underrated in a sense. But I'm gonna go with another Wilson here. This is gonna be the Wilson Staff Model and Staff Model X. So we've got both. They make two different models. I think both of them are really, really good. So Staff Model X, Staff Model. If you're a Pro V1 guy, you're probably going to lean towards the Staff Model. If you're a Pro V1 X guy, the Staff Model X. They're very similar, where the X has a firmer feel, a little bit more spin, a little bit higher launch, a little bit flatter, a little bit more penetrating with the Staff Model. But these things are really good. They perform really well. I know guys who play them, choose to play them over other balls quite frequently. I think they're really solid. My only knock to them, as I was telling somebody once, I feel like after you play them for a while, they get a little dirty. I feel like sometimes the cover doesn't necessarily release that dirt very easily. I feel like they get a little dingy as you play them, but I think performance is good. I think they have great spin around the green. They're long, good feel to them. I feel like the Staff Model is maybe just a hair firmer than a Pro V1 off the face of like the putter, wedge, and stuff like that. The X is pretty darn close. It's slightly firmer. You can definitely tell the difference between the two if you're putting or hitting little chip shots. But the spin around the green is really good. They have great control. And off the driver, they tend to be pretty long and fairly low spin. So really two great options there. I don't know that they're necessarily a whole lot cheaper than anything else out, than like say a Pro V1. I didn't look at the price before I jumped in here, but I think those are two great golf balls that perform really, really well. And one of those also that, like, if you can find a deal on them, dude, snag them, because I think you'll be really impressed with how they play. The logos aren't too crazy. And also, like you get into some of the direct-to-consumer stuff, and it's like the logos are massive and all over the ball, and it's kind of distracting. I like having something simple, and they've got a real classic, Staff Model logo on there, and I think that thing makes it also look kind of like nice and traditional. I guess I should, I say that, and I'm like, I should pull a ball out for the people who are watching and show it off. But I think, it's it's just kind of like a real classic, this one is the Golf Directs logo, but, just kind of a classic thing. It doesn't look anything crazy, and then it's just got a little Staff Model line on it, so you can line it up. But overall, a really good ball that performs really well. And also, too, if you play this ball, you probably don't have to worry about wondering, whose ball is what out in the fairway. You're going to pretty much know which one is yours. So really good ball there. I think the durability is solid on it. I think the cover holds up well. And they just, overall a really solid tour level golf ball that is out there that you can try. So really good one there. And then, the runner up, I'm going to go PXG Extreme Tour and Extreme Tour X. I think both those kind of the same vein in here. Much improved over the previous one. I think the PXG Extreme was a ball that just spun a ton. It was really soft. It was great around the greens, but man, off the driver and stuff like that, it could get a little spinny. It could, maybe it wasn't the longest thing in the world. The new one, I think, having two models again, to fit different players, and I think they definitely improved it. They were able to kind of like separate the spin a little bit more from wedge to driver, make them a little bit longer while still retaining a lot of that control around the green. So I think they did a nice job with that ball. A little bit cheaper than some of the other stuff out there, but I've enjoyed it every time I've played it. It's been really, really an impressive ball. So the Extreme Tour from PXG will be my runner-up in the ball department. And then we're going to finish off the last category because I'm a club junkie and I'm a shaft guy. We're going to go wood shaft, the most underrated wood shaft. And that one there is going to be the KBS PGW, which is brand new out this year. I don't have a retail version, unfortunately. I have one of the ones we did with KBS, and it's kind of this prototype livery we did for some of the member testing in the forums. But this is a PGW, which is the player's graphite wood shaft. And I think this thing is awesome. They redid it. So this is kind of I'm going to call it more like mid-high launch, mid-spin shaft. But they make it in from 40 grams to 80 grams. They make, the 80-gram version, you can get in a stiff. I think you can even get it in a regular. But they make a ton of weights, a ton of different flexes. I think what they did with the shaft is really good. I really like, they had the TD before, which was a good shaft. But this one now, the PGW, higher launching, a little bit more spin. I think some players, who don't need it necessarily in driver are going to love it in fairway. I've got it in an Elite Titanium. I think it's awesome in there, but I think it's super tight, and it's not insanely expensive. I think I was on their website earlier when I was putting this together, and it's like under $200 or $200. This thing is really, really solid, and I think they have you get a ton of value. I think for $200, but a really good thing. They offer, like I said, a ton of flexes. So whether you're putting it, a heavy one in a fairway, or you want something a little bit lighter in the driver, they make a bunch of different options. And again, if you're looking to add a little height, they've got it there, and it's just a tight, accurate shaft that does really, really well. And for the price, I think it's tough to beat what they offer you in this thing. And coming from KBS, well known, Kim Braley, all that designs, we've got a product that's really going to perform really well. So again, it's going to be kind of like a white and black color for the retail one. This one again, I've got this that was just from the member testing, but a really good option. I think a great fairway shaft, or great wood shaft that again nobody's talking about because I think people when you think KBS, you just think of steel shafts. That's all you think about, KBS Tour, C-taper, or whatever, that's all you think about, iron shafts. They make a lot of, they make hybrid shafts and all that too. So a lot of different shafts out there. And I think this one for woods is a really, really great value, performs really well, definitely punches above its weight class for sure. So if you're looking for something a little bit more mid to mid-high launching, a little bit of spin, it's definitely worth trying because I think it's a really, really solid, tight, accurate shaft, that just plays well, and you can get it in, like I said, a ton of weights and flexes to kind of fit whatever part of the bag you need to fit it in. And then for runner-up, I'm going to go the Artera EC1 Gray. I think the gray is, the blue everybody knows about because you can get in a Callaway Club. The Elite Series, you had that $100 upcharge to get an Artera EC1 Blue, and it's a great mid-launch shaft. But the gray one I think is really solid also. It's definitely a little bit tighter. It's got a slightly stiffer tip to it. The rest of the profile is fairly similar, but a little lower torque, a little stiffer tip to it. And yeah, it's not like vintage black, low launch, low spin, but I'll call it mid-low launch, fairly low spin, but it's super tight, really smooth. And I think it plays just a hair softer than the old Alphas. The original shaft that they unfortunately stopped making. This one here I think has a little more feel to it. It's a little softer. You get a little more kind of kick and impact and all that, but I think the EC1 Gray is super overlooked for those players who are looking for something just a little bit stiffer tipped, that they're going to play in driver for a little bit more control, or if their swing dictates it. But they did a nice job with that design, and I think it's a really, really solid option that just, again, nobody talks about. So, but there it is. That is my list of the most underrated clubs of 2025. So let me know what you think, whether you agree, don't agree, whatever. Let me know. It'll be exciting to hear everyone else's thoughts on that. So, if you're wherever you're listening, please like, subscribe, anything like that. If you're watching on YouTube, same thing, like, subscribe, all that. Really appreciate that. And then follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. Did the Q&A yesterday. It was awesome. Really appreciate it. It's kind of late in the day, but still got a lot of good questions out there. And try to post a bunch of stuff there. So anyway, hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Get out there, play some golf. If you live in the north, play some golf before it gets too cold. And we'll talk next week.